Dear math teachers, welcome to the Math4Teacher application. In the first video, you learned how to log in and work with the question database. You already know how to organize your favorite questions, select them for a test, and save the test. You also know how to create two variants of a test, A and B, from so-called twin questions. In this second video, we will explore the second part of the application called Tests Overview. We will explain how to generate a written test, an interactive PDF test, and an HTML test for the Math4U application. This application allows you not only to assign tests but also to collect your students' results. Clicking on Tests Overview takes us to the list of tests we have already created. In the first video, we created a test called Geometry, Quick Review. Each test entry shows its title, last modified date, and available output formats. As we mentioned before, this is a test definition from which we can now generate different outputs. An HTML test for application Math4U, a written test in PDF format, and an interactive PDF test. Each test can also be edited, copied, or deleted. Let's go through each test format one by one. We'll start with the Math4U output. Clicking the Math4U button opens the test settings form. Here, we enter test parameters that students will see: test name, start and end date and time limit. Students can start the test anytime within the set period. Once they begin, the timer starts counting down. The next three optional settings are: allow browsing through test, create two test variants, and shuffle questions. If browsing through the test is enabled, students can move forward and backward through the test. If disabled, they can only move forward and cannot return to previous questions. We check the second box if we want to create two test variants, A and B. Students will then see the option to choose between these variants in the Math4U application. The third box is for shuffling the questions within the test. If we enable this option, each student will receive the same questions but in a different order. Just to clarify, the answer choices within each question are always shuffled automatically. After saving the settings, we move to the list of Math4U tests, where we see our newly created test. It displays key parameters like start and end time and the time limit. The most important detail is the 6-digit access code, which students use to enter the test. Only one code is generated, even if we created two test variants. Students will see the A or B variant selection menu only after logging into the Math4U app. Let's take a quick look at how students access the test and use Math4U. Students open Math4U from the Math4U portal homepage. Following their teacher's instructions, they enter their name or nickname and the test access code. The code must be entered exactly, including uppercase and lowercase letters. After logging in, students see the test details: title, time window for starting the test, number of questions, time limit, and whether they can navigate forward only or in both directions. Once they start the test, the timer begins counting down. Students go through the questions, selecting their answers. Once they complete all questions or run out of time, the results are sent to the teacher into the Math4Teacher application. Now, let's go back to Math4Teacher and see where teachers can view their students' results. Next to the test access code, we see the two envelopes icon. Clicking this opens the test results overview. For each student, we can see which variant they took, their score, and which questions they answered correctly, incorrectly, or skipped. We can sort students by score, test variant, or name. Clicking the icon in the top right corner switches to a detailed view of individual question statistics. If the test has two variants, we can switch between the A and B results. Teachers can see not only how many students answered each question correctly or incorrectly, but also which wrong answers were selected. Math4U helps teachers to make their classroom work more efficient. Let's give one example for all. A teacher can create a short test to review the previous lesson. At the beginning of class, they share the access code. Students complete the test on their phones, and the teacher instantly sees results. This allows the teacher to quickly identify difficult topics and focus on them, making the teaching process more efficient. Here, testing is not meant as mere examination but as a practice tool. It can be used not only in class but also, for instance, for homework. Now, let's look at another test format, a printable PDF test. We go back to the test list and find our test geometry quick review. Clicking the PDF button opens the test settings form. We enter the test name, select a language, and decide whether to generate two variants, A and B. After saving the setting, we are redirected to the list of our PDF tests. To generate the test, we click Generate, and then Check Availability. Once ready, the Open button appears. The ready-to-use PDF test can be downloaded to your computer or printed immediately. The last page of the document contains the answer key for the test questions. If we need the same test in another language, we click PDF again in the test list, choose a different language, and a new test entry is created. Please note that to save storage space, tests will not be stored on the server for long. However, they can be regenerated anytime with one click. The last output option remaining is the interactive PDF test. Clicking the iPDF button in the test list opens the settings form. We enter the test name, select a language, and optionally enable two test variants or question shuffling. After saving these settings, we are redirected to the list of our interactive tests. To generate the test, we click Generate, and then check availability. Once the test is ready, the Open button appears. An interactive PDF test can be downloaded to a computer or uploaded to a website. Students select answers directly in the file and get instant results, including a written and graphical evaluation, by clicking the Evaluate button on the last page. These PDFs work offline, everything is built into the file. Like printable PDF, if we need the test in another language, we click iPDF in the test list, choose a different language, and a new entry is created. These tests are also not stored permanently but can be regenerated anytime with one click. Important notice: interactive PDF tests must be opened with Adobe Reader on a computer. They will not work correctly in a browser or other apps on tablets or phones. Dear teachers, finally, we wish you joy in teaching mathematics and success with your students. We hope our applications support your students' practice and make test preparation easier for you.